I'm a mess. Oh my gosh, an absolute mess. There is so much stuff to clear through. This is like such a task. Hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new then that means you're probably looking into moving abroad as a teacher or just moving abroad. A lot of the reason I made this vlog and my channel is because I had some amazing news this year that I will be moving to Thailand, Phuket in Thailand, to start a teaching job there in an international school. So I'm just making this video because there are so many worries and things that put me off teaching abroad, or stories, or just pure fear. And so I thought that this video could be really helpful for if you're thinking about making the move, or if you actually are making the move, what should you take, what should you do and prepare, because I've been really struggling myself to find out this information. So hopefully I can help you to do that. I wanted to move abroad. The whole reason I went into teaching was so that I could move abroad and teach abroad, because I love travelling, but I also want to progress in my career, you know, still earn the dosh. For me, I wanted to do it before I did my NQT year. For me, I was, you know, I really wanted to just get on, move abroad. However, one of the things I would say, if you're finishing your PGCE and looking into jobs, there are loads of international jobs, teaching jobs, that will accept NQTs. And if that's something you want to do, I would say go for it completely. The only thing you might want to consider is the fact that, I don't know whether this is fear mongering from your universities because they want you to complete an NQT in England, but they say that a lot of schools back in England, if you ever wanted to return, will not accept your NQT if it's been done abroad. However, I've looked into this, and all you have to do is make sure that your school abroad is registered. There's a whole long list of schools that are abroad and international schools that are registered to qualify you in your NQT, which, if you don't know, is like your induction year after your PGCE. So after you've trained, you have to do an NQT within 5 years of your PGCE. So another really common thing that a lot of people who want to move abroad do, they get really tempted by like Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And I looked into so many jobs in Dubai and Abu Dhabi on TES and eTeach and stuff like that, because they have insane packages, like insane. They put you in accommodation, they pay for absolutely everything. Your salary will be double what it is here as an NQT or a first year teacher. So for me personally, when I was looking through them jobs in around February time, when all the jobs come out, I just realised that really wasn't the lifestyle for me. I ended up writing down a list which I would strongly advise of the things you're looking for in that new location, especially if you're like me and you haven't actually been there before to any of these really cool places. So for me, it was really important that I lived by the sea or near a sea, that there was a really good expat community, a lot of other English people, possibly young people, so somewhere where there's a good vibe for going out possibly if I wanted to, and meeting new people. But also I wanted a completely different culture, one that I could really get into. And I kind of also looked at places I really wanted to travel to, like could I knock off 2 birds with 1 stone, you know, like is there places that I'm so intrigued in travelling to one day that actually to get a job somewhere there might be a good way of exploring that area. So my first major piece of advice that I have realised through conversations with my family and through basically fear as well of the whole process upcoming has been, you actually have to realise that you're moving abroad. You're not going on holiday and you're not travelling. And even yesterday I was like, oh, I've got to go and pack for my holiday, and people were looking at me like, no, you're moving. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm moving, yeah. But there's so much more peace of mind with going on holiday, because you then come back to your room and everything's exactly where you've left it, and it's fun, and you don't have to worry about like your clothes that you've been hoarding for the last 5 years since you were a teenager, and all the books you have on your bookshelf, you know, all silly things like that. I think my realisation when it kicked in that I was moving moving abroad, moving out, was when my mum was like, well, if you want your room to stay exactly how it is, then you have to carry on paying rent here. And I was like, and at first I got so angry. I was like, why would I pay rent for a room that I'm not using? And it took maybe like 2 weeks of her saying this and just dropping it into conversation here and there for me to realise that actually I'm moving out. Like I don't even need my room. And in that sense I needed to think more long term as well, which is in 2 years time, if I've stayed there for my full contract, which I plan on doing, I'm going to be 25. I don't really want to move back in at that point in my life. I would have spent 2 years living out. Would I really then again want to move back in? And if I had all my stuff here, would I be kind of preparing myself to move back in, even though I probably shouldn't? You know, the easier option. So for me, that's a massive tip. And once you've got it in your head and made that decision, because for some of you, your parents might be lovely and leave all your stuff exactly the way it is. But even then, if they have said that, you're gonna come back to clothes, for example, that are in fashion now. Are you necessarily gonna want to wear them in 2 years' time? So consciously making that decision of, I am moving out, this is permanent, I might not necessarily want to move back in, makes it much easier to be more cutthroat about the stuff you want to keep and the stuff you don't want to keep. So also deciding that you're moving out is so exciting. It makes it all so much more exciting and real. So yeah, as you can probably see here, I went through, it took me about 2 days. I was stressed out of my eyeballs. Yeah, my tip is to have 3 categories. You have valuable storage, the stuff that you are not going to take to Thailand, but stuff that's valuable to you, you want to keep it, and even if it's clothes that you think you're going to wear when you get back because they were expensive pieces like coats and stuff, then put them to one side, maybe clear a bit of space out for your wardrobe to have them there. Another top tip here is, I agreed with my mum, even if she gives this room to my sister, I was allowed the bottom part of the wardrobe. So you can probably see in the video me packing stuff into the bottom part of the wardrobe. So that's really important, because otherwise you're just moving things, and there's nothing less productive than just moving things around. If you know you've got that spot of storage, whether it's in a parent's garage, grandparents' garage, friend's house, you know, utilise that, get stuff shifted as quickly as possible. I also had charity and eBay categories. My mistake that I've done is I left my eBay stuff till the week before. Now, if any of you use eBay, you know that the listings are 3, 5 or 7 days. So on that first day it was fine. I did 7 days, but then the more stuff I found that I wanted to eBay, it had to go down to a 5-day list and a 3-day list, and then you're not going to get as many bids and interest in the stuff. And on that note, for eBay, any carrier bags that you go shopping to get your Thailand stuff for, or wherever it is you're going, keep them, because you can literally use them as postage bags. The third and final thing was bin. Again, I had like 7 or 8 bin bags. My dad was not happy because it meant I filled up the wheelie bin, so you might have to factor in a dump run. Try and recycle where you can, save the planet and all that. Yeah, be cutthroat about it. I had ridiculous amounts of stuff for the bin. I didn't throw away anything that can be sold or valuable, definitely not books. I have a thing about throwing away books. Like, so much stuff. If you can't sell it, you don't know anyone that's going to want it, and it's not something you're going to put into storage, bin it. And unfortunately it's hard, especially if you're like me and a bit of a hoarder, but you just have to. And that's why, going back to my last piece of advice, deciding that you're moving out permanently helps you with that mindset and helps you get over the fear of chucking stuff away. So coming on to my final bits of advice is actually what I'm gonna take. I was spending a huge amount of money on clothing that I thought would be suitable for Thailand. Well, the place you're going to get clothes that are suitable for Thailand are in Thailand, and from researching it a lot and from what people have said, the cost of living is so much cheaper in Thailand. So I really should have just left it to going out there. It would have saved me luggage space if I had done that. Like, I have bought all these lovely bohemian hippie trousers from Primark here that were only cheap, but my cousin, she was like, no, you get it for about £1 for a pair of trousers in Thailand in the markets, and I was like, ugh, that's so annoying. So yeah, research where you're going. Are you going to be able to get all these things there? Because trust me, the less packing you have to do, the better. The less money you spend, the better. You're going to stress about the weight of your suitcase. So, you know, really research it. Talk to people that have been to that area, because there'll always be someone you know. A big consideration is the culture. In Thailand, I fully want to immerse myself in the culture. Like I said, I'm living on the right side of Phuket, by Phuket town, which is much more where the locals live, the local Thai people live. So for me, I'm not going to be walking around in my denim hot pants or, you know, low cut tops. The culture there is typically to have the knees covered and the shoulders covered, just out of politeness and courtesy, okay? I don't want to stick out like a sore thumb as a tourist. I want to be someone who looks like they live there, is respectful to the culture. So for me, it's less about taking my party clothes and more about what clothes will actually fit in there. And if you're moving to Dubai, that's a huge consideration, I would imagine, because of their massive cultural differences to here in England. It's not the end of the world if you don't have anything, because you're going to be able to buy stuff there, okay? Hair conditioner and shampoo, sometimes some of the heaviest items in your suitcase. The people, wherever you're going, wash their hair. You're going to be able to get it out there, and you're going to learn cheap places where you can do that, okay? So don't panic about forgetting anything or feeling like you have to take everything, because you don't. On another note, if you're teaching in a hot country, I have been buying lots and lots of summery work dresses. Obviously, not realising until someone told me, oh, all the school's going to be air-conned. And I looked into it, and the school is air-conned, and we have one room at my current school here in England that's air-conned, and you are frozen. So actually, all the dresses I had for England probably would have been more than sufficient for where I'm going in Thailand. I selected 2 books. I limited myself to 2 school books, the ones that I use to take, because you're going to want to take all your stuff you've accumulated, and I also narrowed all my paperwork down to 1 file. So just 1 file, and that includes everything that I possibly need, like certificates, if in case I want to look for a new job at some point, maybe when my contract's up, tax return stuff. If you're moving abroad, at a certain point of the year, like me, you're going to be able to get a tax return on, because they work your tax out as an average of the year, assuming that you're going to earn, say, £25,000 over the year. They're going to tax you based on that. But if you are like me, you're going to earn less than the threshold for that tax year, depending on what time of the year you're moving away. So I should get all my tax back that I've paid so far up till August. So things like that for paperwork, you're going to need your last 3 months paychecks and things like that. So make sure you have that with you in case you need to scan that and send it off in order. Some really last little things that you might not want to leave till last minute, but I have left till last minute, and it's not the end of the world, is student finance. I thought I was going to be able to get away with it, but having looked into it, you have to let them know you're going abroad. And if you've got a job abroad, what they do is they recalculate based on the cost of living there, the threshold, so that you then have to pay, and they work out a repayment schedule for while you're abroad. So in England, you'll find that you'll be paying £9% of anything you earn over 17,500. Whereas for me in Thailand, the cost of living is so much lower that actually the threshold is lower, so I have to pay back 9% of anything I earn over 7,500, which is obviously, I was traumatized when I found out, not very happy about it at all, because they don't seem to take into consideration things like the fact that, well, I'll actually be moving out, so I'll have way more living costs in terms of that, you know. So they blow my mind in terms of how they work these things out, but all I know is they're not going to let you get away with it. You download a simple form off the student finance website, you send it off with your contract from your new employee, and they will send you a repayment schedule that you can sort out with them. Other things to consider that I won't go into too much detail, but it's stuff that I completely forgot about. If you have a car, cancelling the tax, declaring it off the road, and car insurance, you don't want to be paying for it if it's away. However, I feel like I'm tied in for the year, so I need to ring them up later to find out about that. Our payments to things that you can use in the UK, like for example my gym membership, I'm obviously not going to need. Even some like TV subscriptions, I'm not sure particularly which ones exactly, and I won't say names, but you might find that they only work for the UK and America, so you can't actually view them in certain places, so having a subscription to them is going to be pretty useless. So just things like that, magazine subscriptions, all things like that take time to sort out, but you will thank yourself when you haven't got to then worry about it in your new country. That is all of my tips and advice so far. I am going to pack now. So yeah, I hope this has been super helpful. I know I've droned on a little bit, but there's quite a lot of considerations to go through, and it's exciting that you're doing the same thing that I'm doing. Yeah, I hope everything goes super well for you if this is something you're planning, and please keep watching my channel because I'm going to be posting so many videos from my time in Thailand. I hope this has been super helpful for you. See you later.